Good morning, students. Welcome to the online CET classes. So, in this class, we discuss some important synopsis and the important questions which are appear in the previous exam in CET and NEET. Semiconductor electronics, energy band. So, energy band. There are two types of energy bands. One is valency band, another is conduction band. Energy band, valency band means it is the range of energy possessed by the valency electron, or energy band occupied by the valency electron. It's called what? Valency band. Energy band occupied by conduction electrons is called conduction band. This band, valency band, is completely or partially filled. Conduction band is partially or completely empty. In case of conductors, it is partially filled. In case of insulators, they are completely empty. Energy gap, the highest energy level which can be occupied by an electron in valency band at 0 Kelvin. As temperature increases, energy gap decreases very slightly. So energy gap is the distance between highest valence range of energy possessed by the valency band and the lowest energy possessed by the conduction band. This is called what? Energy band. As the temperature increases, energy gap decreases. As the temperature increases, this energy gap goes on decreases slightly. Semiconductor behaves like perfect insulator at 0 Kelvin. Next, conductors, semiconductors and insulators. So in case of conductors, conductivity is high and resistivity is low. Semiconductors, conductivity is moderate and resistivity is moderate. In case insulator, conductivity is very low and resistivity is very high. Conductivity decreases or resistivity increases with increase in temperature. As the temperature increases, conductivity or resistivity low. The resistivity increases with increase in temperature. It is directly proportional to T. Here, the resistivity or conductivity does not depend on temperature. It is independent of temperature. But here, the conductivity increases with increase in temperature. Or resistivity decreases with increase in temperature. It is inversely proportional. So, in case of conductors, the conduction band and valency band overlap. As a result, the valency band is partially empty, conduction band is partially filled. In case of semiconductors, the valency band and conduction band are separated by small energy gap, that is less than 3 electron volt. In case of insulators, the energy gap is greater than 3 electron volt. Energy gap is large, it is greater than 3 electron volt. Conduction band is completely filled with 3 electrons at room temperature. In case of conductors, the conduction band is completely filled with 3 electrons and even at room temperature. But in case of semiconductors, the conduction band is partially filled with 3 electrons at room temperature. At room temperature means around 27 degrees Celsius. So here conduction band is completely filled. In case of semiconductor, the conduction band is partially filled. In case of insulators, conduction band is completely empty even at room temperature. So here electrons are the charge carriers. In conductors, electrons are the charge carriers. But in case of semiconductors, both electrons and holes are the charge carriers. There is no charge carriers in case of insulator because there is no conduction. Next type of semiconductor. So if you come to the type of semiconductor, there are two types of semiconductor: intensive semiconductor and expensive semiconductor. Pure semiconductors. So the semiconductors in pure form are called intrinsic semiconductors. Example: germanium and silicon. And a semiconductor in impure form are called extrinsic semiconductors. So in case of intrinsic semiconductor, the number of free electrons is equal to number of holes. But in case of extrinsic semiconductor, number of free electrons is not equal to number of holes. Here number of free electrons is equal to number of holes. But in case of extrinsic semiconductor, number of free electrons are not equal to number of holes. Next, conductivity depends only on temperature. In case of intrinsic semiconductor, conductivity only depends on temperature. But in case of extrinsic semiconductor, conductivity depends both on temperature and concentration of impurity atom, that is doping, dopants. Conductivity is due to both holes and electrons. Here, conductivity in case of intrinsic semiconductor is both due to holes and electrons. But in case of extrinsic semiconductor, conductivity is mainly due to majority charge carriers. So, next one, conductivity is relatively low at room temperature. But here conductivity is relatively high at room temperature. Conductivity is 0 at low temperature or at 0 Kelvin. Conductivity is not 0 even at 0 Kelvin or very low temperature. So if we come to the extrinsic semiconductor, there are two types of extrinsic semiconductor. One is N type of semiconductor, another is P type of semiconductor. Now if we come to the N type semiconductor, it is obtained by adding a pentavalent impurity atom to the pure semiconductor. So pentavalent impurities like arsenic, antimony, phosphorus, bismuth, etc. are called what? Pentavalent impurities. They have 5 electrons in the outermost orbit. They have 5 electrons in the outermost orbit. And here, in case of N-type semiconductor, when the pentavalent impurity atom is added, like this, the 4 electrons, 4 valence electrons, is involved in the covalent bond formation with the 4 neighboring silicon atoms. But the 5th electron is loosely bound to the atom because this is not involved in the any bond formation. So therefore, even at 0 Kelvin, this electron is available for conduction because this is not involved in any covalent bond formation and it is weakly bound to the atom. As a result, this is available for conduction even at low temperature. And another important point is, silicon is electrically neutral. Electrically neutral means number of protons is equal to number of electrons. Whatever the pentavalent impurity you will add it, like arsenic, bismuth, antimony, phosphorus, etc. They are also electrically neutral. When they are added into the intrinsic semiconductor, so then the whole atom is electrically neutral. Whole element is what? Electrically neutral. But some of the electrons in the pentavalent impurities are weakly bound to the atoms because they are not involved in the covalent bond formation. They are available for conduction at room temperature. As the temperature increases, more and more covalent bonds are breaks and electron hole pairs will be created. As a result, conductivity increases. But at any instant, ಒಂದು impurity atom ಒಂದು electron ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಒಂದು 10 impurity atom add ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ it gives 10 electrons for the conduction. With that, as the temperature increases, if the 10 covalent bond breaks, it gives rise to the 10 electron hole pairs. Then the total number of electrons are 10 plus 10. Holes are 10. Then the number of majority charge carriers are what? Electron. 20 electrons are participated in conduction. Only 10 holes are participated in what? Conduction. Therefore, here electrons are the majority charge carriers and holes are the minority charge carriers. In case, if you come to the p-type semiconductor, it is obtained by adding a trivalent impurity like boron, aluminum, indium, gallium, etc. So this is bismuth also. Atoms of the pure semiconductor. When they are trivalent means they have only 3 electrons in the outermost orbit. When they are added into the pure semiconductor, the 3 electrons of the trivalent impurity are involved in the covalent bond formation with the 3 neighboring silicon or germanium atoms. But the 4th one have a deficiency of electron to complete the covalent bond. Therefore, it will attract 1 electron from the neighboring silicon atoms. As a result, 1 electron will come out of the silicon or germanium and it will fills this one. As a result, covalent bond will be completed that creates a vacancy here. That is called what? Hole. Hole. Therefore, every one impurity atom gives rise to one mole. So if 10 impurity atoms are added, 10 holes are generated, and as the temperature increases, so if the covalent bond breaks, if 5 covalent bond break, gives rise to the 5 electrons and 5 holes. Then the number of holes become 15 and electron become 5. Therefore, holes are the majority charge carriers and electrons are the minority charge carriers. And here conductivity is given by Ne mu E into E. Conductivity of this N-type P-type semiconductor is given by NH mu E into E. Impurities are called donor impurities in the correct because they are donating one electron to the conduction. And here impurity atoms are called acceptor impurities. We call them as a what? Acceptor, because they are accepting electrons from the neighboring silicon or germanium atom. That's why they are called acceptor. When the impurity is added, in case of N-type semiconductor, the energy level of the donor atoms will be lies just below the conduction band. Just below the what? Conduction band, and that energy gap will be in the range of 0.01 electron. And similarly, in case of P-type semiconductor, when the trivalent impurities are added, the energy level of the acceptor impurities are just above the valency band. As the temperature increases, now this electron will jump to this acceptor energy level by creating a holes in the region. Therefore, these holes are available for what? Conduction even at low temperature. Here also, when the electrons in the donor energy level, because intervalent impurities have electrons in their outermost orbit, 5. Out of them, 1 is available for conduction. That will be lies in this energy level. As the slightly temperature increases, these electrons will reach to the conduction band and they are available for what? Conduction even at low temperature. Next, for extrinsic semiconductor, Ne into NH is equal to Ni square. Ne into NH is equal to what? Ni square. Where Ne is the electron density of conduction band and NH is the hole density of valency band. And Ni is the intrinsic charge concentration the correct way, or electron density in conduction band or hole density in valency band in pure semiconductor. It's the intrinsic charge density in the correct way, or electron density in conduction band or hole density in valency band in pure semiconductor. In pure semiconductor. This is in case of impure semiconductor, that is extrinsic semiconductor. Now conductivity is given by this equation, and mobility, we know that mobility is the drift velocity per unit electric field. Therefore, the mobility of the electron is VE by E and mobility of the hole is VH by E, where VH is the drift velocity of the hole and V is the drift velocity of electrons. Next, PN junction. So we know that to a single piece of pure semiconductor, to the one side a trivalent impurity is added and to the other side pentavalent impurity is added, that gives rise to a PN junction. The PN junction with metallic contacts is called PN junction diode or semiconductor diode. So if we add a trivalent impurity to the P side, then it becomes P-type semiconductor. In P-type semiconductor, holes are the majority charge carriers. To the other side, if we add the pentavalent impurities, electrons are the majority charge carriers. Electrons are the what? Majority charge carriers. So now, due to charge concentration difference, the holes will start to move towards the N region and electrons will start to move towards the P region. As a result, the immobile, negative immobile ions will be start to deplete or start to accumulate near the junction on P side. And also, due to the motion of these holes towards the N, that is called diffusion recurrence. So the positive immobile ions are formed on the N side near the junction. That gives rise to the barrier potential or depletion region. That gives rise to the what? Depletion region. In depletion region, because of negative immobile ions on one side, positive immobile ions on other side, gives rise to a potential. That potential is called barrier potential. We call it as what? Barrier potential. So the majority charge carriers undergo diffusion. Diffusion means they move from one region to another region. That is, hole diffuse from p side to n side, and electron diffuse from n side to p side. They always diffuse from their majority side to minority side. That is called diffusion. In the same movement of the minority charge carriers, like in p side, electrons are the minority charge carriers. They will move to the n region. They are called drift. We call it as a drift. Similarly, holes are the minority charge carriers in n region. They will move towards the p region. That is called what? Drift. In the beginning, due to the diffusion of electron and holes, the current, the diffusion current is more. As the time process, the diffusion current decreases as a result of depletion region formed, and the drift current increases. In equilibrium, the diffusion current becomes equal to the drift current. Here, the depletion region, the thickness of the depletion layer is in the order of 10 to the power of minus 6 meter. It's very small, minus 6 on a micrometer. The width of the depletion region is directly proportional to, inversely proportional to the concentration of doping. If the concentration of doping is less, the width of the depletion region is more. If the concentration is more, if the doping is more, means the majority charge carriers will be more. Whereas the positive, majority holes are what? More in p side, electrons are more in n side. As a result, because of repulsion between these electrons in n side, holes in p side, they move away from each other. As a result, they apply a pressure on this depletion region. As a result, the width of the depletion region what? Decreases. Therefore, the width of the depletion region is inversely proportional to concentration of doping. Doping is more, width of the depletion region is less. And another point is, the width of the depletion region is also depends on temperature. As the temperature increases, electron hole pairs are created. As a result, more and more majority charge carriers are available in the respective region. As a result, width of the depletion region decreases. Potential barrier, that is the potential developed near the junction due to the presence of what? Immobile ions on either side. This is called what? Barrier potential. And for germanium, that barrier potential is in the order of 0.3 volt, and for silicon, it is in the order of 0.7 volt. Electric field at depletion region. So if we take this, the width of the depletion region is 10 power minus 6, and average voltage barrier potential is 1 is 0.3 and 0.7. The average becomes 0.7 plus 0.3 is 1, 1 by 2 is 0.5. Therefore, the electric field, average electric field in the depletion region is E is equal to V by D. That is 0.5. Barrier voltage is what? 0.5 divided by the width of the depletion region is 10 power minus 6. That is 5 into 10 power 5 volt per meter. This much of electric field is developed in the what? Near the junction. Diffusion is due to majority charge carriers, and drift is due to minority charge carriers. You should be aware of it. Next, biasing. Applying external voltage across the PN junction diode is called biasing. So, if we connect P side to the positive terminal of the battery, and N side to the negative terminal of the battery, this is called forward bias. If the P side is connected to negative terminal of the battery and N side is connected to positive terminal of the battery, this is called reverse biasing. So, if the P is connected to positive, means P side is at high potential, and N is connected to negative, means N side is at low potential. So, if N side is at low potential and P side is at high potential, then that biasing is called forward biasing. If the P is connected to negative, then it is at what potential? Low potential. If P is connected to low potential and N is connected to positive, means high potential. Positive means high, negative means low. Then this is called reverse bias. You should be aware of it. So the P side is connected to high potential and N side is connected to low potential. It's a forward bias. If the P side is connected to low potential and N side is connected to high potential, it's a reverse bias. The width of the so as the applied voltage increases, so external voltage increases, width of the depletion region decreases here in case of forward bias. But in case of reverse bias, width of the depletion region increases. Barrier potential decreases, but here barrier potential increases. Current is due to majority charge carriers here, but here current is due to minority charge carriers. The IV characteristic of the forward bias is like this. The IV characteristic of the reverse bias is like this. IV characteristic of the reverse bias is like this. Next, rectifier. The device which converts AC into DC is called rectifier. There are two rectifiers. One is half wave rectifier and the full wave rectifier. So half wave rectifier. In case of half wave rectifier, it converts only half cycle of AC into a DC. But full wave rectifier converts both half cycles of AC into a DC. So in case of half wave rectifier, only one diode is used. Here is two diodes are used. Efficiency is less in case of half wave rectifier. Efficiency is more in case of full wave rectifier. The output frequency, the output DC frequency is equal to input frequency in case of half wave rectifier, because only half of the cycle is what converts into DC. But in case of full wave rectifier, output frequency is equal to twice the input frequency. Next, the average output current in one cycle is IDC is equal to I0 by pi. And average output current in one cycle is IDC is equal to twice. Because here both the cycles are converted into what? DC. Therefore, twice the I0 by pi. Here it is I0 by pi and it is the twice. Here is the VDC. The voltage, DC voltage is equal to V0 by pi. Here the DC voltage is equal to twice V0 by pi. Next, light emitting diode, which converts electric energy into what? Light energy in the forward bias. And LEDs are made from germanium, arsenic, phosphorus. Gallium, arsenic, phosphorus, the gallium phosphorus, phosphide. Because energy gap of this metal is what? In visible region. This is the circuit symbol of the light emitting diode. Next, photodiode, which converts the light energy into what? Electrical energy reverse bias. This is the circuit symbol, and it always operates in reverse bias. And this is the nature of the IV characteristic of the photodiode. Next, this is the solar cell. Solar cell converts solar energy into electrical energy. So it have a N and P material, and it is connected to the what? Load, like this. Across the load, we get the output voltage when the light is incident on this PN junction near the depletion region. And this is the IV characteristic of the solar cell, and this is called open circuit voltage. Open circuit voltage. When the circuit is open, the voltage is large, but current is zero. The circuit is open, there is the current will not flow. That is called open circuit voltage. And now this is called short circuit current. When the P side is shorted to N side, but without any load resistance, then a maximum or heavy current flows. A maximum current flows through it. That is called short circuit current. And this is IS. Then voltage difference is zero. So this is about a small discussion about synopsis. With this synopsis, we come to the first question. Choose the only one false statement from the following. First one, in conductors, valency and conduction band overlaps. Correct. In case of conductors, so the valency band and the conduction band both overlap. Valency band and conduction band what? Overlap. Therefore, energy gap is equal to what? Zero. In case of conductor, that is correct statement. Substances with energy gap of the order 10 electron volt are insulators. Correct. If any substance having energy gap greater than 3 electron volt are insulators. Are what? Insulators. Therefore, if greater than 3 electron volt is insulator, then of course greater than 10 electron volt also insulators. Therefore, option B is also correct. C. The resistivity of the semiconductor increases with increase in temperature. Resistivity of the semiconductor decreases with increase in temperature. So therefore, option C is wrong. Fourth one, the conductivity of the semiconductor increases with increase in temperature. Correct. Therefore, option C is wrong. Option C is what? Wrong. Next one. Second question. Carbon, silicon, germanium have 4 electrons, valency electrons. Their valency and conduction bands are separated by energy band gaps represented by EGC, EGSI, and EGG respectively. Which of the following relationship is correct? So for carbon, it says the atomic number is 6. For silicon, 14. For germanium, it's a 32. The energy gap of carbon is greater than the energy gap of silicon. And this is greater than the energy gap of germanium. As the atomic number increases, the energy gap between conduction band and valency band decreases. Therefore, the energy gap of the carbon is greater than energy gap of the silicon, and it is greater than energy gap of the germanium. Yes, look at here. So from this, which one is correct? Look at here. Energy gap of carbon is greater than energy gap of silicon. Correct. Correct. Next, check the option B. Energy gap of carbon is less than energy gap of the silicon. Wrong. This is wrong. Next, energy gap of the carbon is equal to energy gap of the silicon. No. Energy gap of the carbon is greater than energy gap of the silicon. Last one, energy gap of the carbon is less than energy gap of the silicon. No. Energy gap of the carbon is greater than energy gap of the germanium. So this is also wrong. Hence, option A is correct. Option A is what? Correct answer. Next question. To a germanium crystal, equal number of aluminum and indium atoms are added. Then, so there is a germanium crystal, aluminum and indium. Aluminum and indium atoms are pentavalent impurities. These are what? Sorry, pentavalent or trivalent. They are what? Trivalent impurities. So, trivalent impurities. When they are added to germanium, it gives rise to what? P-type semiconductor. P-type semiconductor. Similarly, if we take bismuth, antimony, phosphorus, etc., they are pentavalent. They are pentavalent impurities. When they are added to germanium semiconductor, they gives rise to N-type semiconductor. So therefore, option C is correct. It becomes a P-type semiconductor. It remains an intrinsic, wrong. It becomes N-type, no, because they are trivalent impurity. It becomes an insulator, no, it's not possible. It becomes what? P-type semiconductor. Option C is the correct. Next one. In the energy band diagram of a material shown here, the open circles and filled circles denote holes and electrons respectively. The material is in the energy band diagram of the material. This is the energy band diagram given open circle. This circle open circles and filled circles. This circle what? Filled circles denote holes and electrons respectively. Yes, you should know that one. The free electrons are always in conduction band and holes are always present in what? Valency band. Holes never be present in conduction band and free electrons never be present in valency band. Electrons are present in valency band, but free electrons are present in only conduction band. Okay? Yes. So what type of material it is they are asking? Look at here. How many holes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There 6 holes are there. And how many electrons are there? Only 2 electrons in the conduction band. 2 electrons are there. Or a number of holes is greater than what? Number of electrons. Holes are the majority charge carriers. Holes are the majority charge carriers, and electrons are the minority charge carriers. Minority charge carriers. Holes are majority charge carriers, and electrons are minority charge carriers in what? P-type semiconductor. Therefore, this is a P-type semiconductor. So here holes are greater than electrons. Holes are greater means holes are the majority charge carriers and electrons are the minority charge carriers. Therefore, the material is P-type semiconductor. Next, fifth one. Minority carriers in a P-type semiconductor are, of course, we explain electrons. Electrons are the minority charge carriers, free electrons. Option E is the correct answer. Next one, sixth one. In which of the following statement the obtained impure semiconductor is of P-type? Germanium is doped with bismuth. Bismuth is a pentavalent. Therefore, it gives rise to what? N-type semiconductor. Silicon is doped with antimony. Yes, antimony is also pentavalent. Therefore, it also gives rise to what? N-type semiconductor. Germanium is doped with gallium. Yes, gallium is a trivalent impurity. Gallium is a what? Trivalent impurity. So the germanium doped with gallium gives rise to P-type semiconductor. And phosphorus is once again pentavalent. Therefore, it also gives rise to what? N-type. Therefore, option C is correct. So the germanium is doped with gallium. Gallium is a trivalent impurity. Gives rise to the P-type semiconductor. Next, seventh one. For a N-type semiconductor, which of the following statements are N-type? N-type semiconductor. Electrons are the majority charge carriers. Correct. Trivalent atoms are dopants. No, wrong. Pentavalent atoms are added to get N-type semiconductor. Next one. Holes are majority charge carriers. No, wrong. Trivalent atoms are the dopants. No, wrong. Both are wrong. Holes are the majority charge carriers. Wrong. Pentavalent atoms are the dopants. This is correct. But this one is wrong, Therefore, whole sentence is wrong. Next, D. Electrons are the majority charge carriers and N-type semiconductor is obtained by adding a pentavalent atoms as a dopant. So, option D is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer. Next one. In N-type semiconductor, electrons are majority charge carriers, but it does not show any negative charge. The reason is, so in N-type semiconductor, electrons are the majority charge carriers, but that material does not show any negative charge. So here, look at here. Yes. If you consider this one here, the intrinsic semiconductor is electrically neutral, and this impurity atom is also electrically neutral. But one electron is not involved in covalent bond formation. Therefore, it is weakly bound to the atom and it is available for conduction. That does not mean this atom is negative ion. It is electrically neutral. If every atoms are electrically neutral, then whole material is what? Electrically neutral. Therefore, the correct answer is the atoms are electrically neutral. The atoms are what? Electrically neutral. Option C is the correct answer. Atom is electrically neutral. Therefore, the whole element is what? Electrically neutral. Only electrons are charge carriers. As the electric field is applied at room temperature, these electrons are present in conduction band and they are available for conduction. So option C is the correct answer. Next one. Ninth one. The forbidden energy gap of germanium is 0.72 electron. And the product of Planck's constant and speed of light is 12400 electron volt Armstrong. The maximum wavelength that will generate electron hole pair is the question. We know that energy gap is equal to hc by lambda. H nu, in the place of nu, we can substitute C by lambda. Therefore, it becomes Hc by lambda. Therefore, lambda is equal to Eg la Hc by Eg. Hc is 12400 electron volt Armstrong divided by Eg is 0.7. As multiplied divided by 100, it becomes 124 zeros divided by 72. This is electron volt. Electron volt cancel. Remaining is Armstrong. Yes. Now 18. So 4 18 is 74. 4 3 is 4 1. 31 by 18. 31 by what? 18. Lambda is equal to 31 by 18 into this 4 zeros is 10 to the power of 4. 10 to the power of 4 Armstrong. Now lambda is equal to 18 ones are 18. 1. Now 31 18 difference is 30. Put the decimal, take the 0. 130. So 18 5s are 90, 18 6s are 108, and 18 7s are 126. Therefore 18 7s are 126. 4 is the remainder, and take the 0, 40. So 18 2s are 36. 4 remainder 40. 2, etc. into 10 to the power of 4 Armstrong. Then lambda is equal to, we multiply 1722. 1 2 2 1 2 3 4 17222.2 Armstrong. Okay. 17222 Armstrong. Option C is the correct answer. 17222 Armstrong is the correct answer. Option C. The energy gap in case of the following is less than 3 electron volt. Aluminium. Aluminium is a conductor. Energy gap is equal to 0. Eg. Iron is also a conductor. Energy gap is equal to 30 electron volt. Germanium is a semiconductor. Germanium is a what? Semiconductor, and its energy gap is less than 3 electron volt. Copper is a conductor. And its energy gap is equal to 0 electron. Therefore, option C is the correct answer. Option C is the correct answer. Next, a positive hole in a semiconductor is absence of free electrons, an artificially created particle, an antiparticle of electron. A vacancy created when electron leaves the covalent bond. This is the correct answer. Hole is a vacancy created when the electron leaves the covalent bond. Is called what? Therefore, option D is the correct answer. Next, the density of electron hole pair in a pure germanium. Electron hole pair in pure germanium, Ni. Intrinsic charge concentration they have given. Ni is equal to 3 into 10 to the power of 16 meter cube at room temperature. And doping with aluminium, the hole density NH is equal to 4.5 into 10 to the power of 20. Now the electron density, we know that Ni square is equal to Ne into NH, or Ne is equal to Ni square divided by NH. Ni is a 3 into 10 to the power of 16 whole square divided by NH is a 4.5 into 10 to the power of 20. So it's a 9 into 10 to the power of 30 divided by 4.5 into 10 to the power of 20. 4.5 ones are 4.5 twos are. So 2 into 32 minus 22 is 10. Or 10 to the power of 10 electrons per meter. Electrons per meter. Per meter. Option B is correct. Option B is what? Correct. Next, 13. In an unbiased PN junction, unbiased means external voltage is not applied. So in unbiased PN junction, so this is the PN junction. This is P side, this is N side. So therefore, negative immobile ions are near the junction on P side, and here positive immobile ions. And here electrons are the majority charge carrier. Here holes are the majority charge carrier. Holes are the one majority charge carrier. Yes. So here fixed layer of positive ions. Fixed layer of positive ions. Positive immobile ions. Positive immobile ions. Positive immobile ions. Positive immobile ions. Fixed layer of positive immobile ions on N side. And fixed layer of negative immobile ions on P side. P side. So no movement creates potential difference. Creates a what? Potential difference called barrier potential. Creates a potential difference called what? Barrier potential. Therefore, now N side. So inside what type of ions are there? Positive ions. So N side is at high potential. Is at high potential, and P side electrons is there, and P side is at low potential. P side is at what? Low potential, because of the presence of this negative immobile ion. Negative one that gives rise to what? Potential barrier. Because of this potential barrier, so the P side is at low potential and the N side is at high potential. Let's look at here. So the N side is at high potential, and potential at P is what? Potential at P is less than at N. Option D is correct. Option D is the correct answer. Potential at P is less than potential at N. Next one. The width of the depletion region in a PN junction diode increased by reverse bias, increased by forward bias, decreased by reverse bias, independent of the bias. Yes, this is the diode. And this is the depletion region consisting of negative immobile ions on NP side and positive immobile ions on N side, like this. So when they are connected in reverse bias, P side is connected to negative terminal of the battery and N side is connected to positive terminal of the battery. As a result, poles, these poles will start to move towards the negative terminal of the battery. And here electrons, they will start to move towards the P side of the battery. As a result, the width of the depletion region increases. So in forward bias, the width of the depletion region decreases because the holes and electrons will start to move towards the junction. As a result, so there is a pressure on the depletion region and the depletion region width goes on decreases and becomes zero at one point. As a result, current will start to increase linearly. But in case of reverse bias, holes are moving away from the junction or junction and electrons also moving away from the junction. As a result, more space is available for what? For the formation of immobile ions, hence the width of the depletion region increases. Therefore, option A is the correct answer. Option A is the what? Correct answer. Next 15th. The barrier potential of a PN junction depends on type of semiconductor material. Type of what? Semiconductor material, amount of doping and temperature. Yes, it depends on type of semiconductor. The barrier potential depends on barrier potential. Barrier potential depends on first one, type of semiconductor material. Type of semiconductor material. Type of semiconductor material. Example, for silicon. For silicon. For silicon, the barrier potential Vp is equal to 0.74. And for germanium, Vb is equal to 0.34. Therefore, depends on what? Type of the semiconductor material. Second, amount of doping. Yes, amount of doping. Amount of doping. The barrier potential is also depends on amount of doping. If the doping is more, barrier potential is less. If the doping is less, barrier potential is what? More. It depends on the width of the depletion region. That's why it also depends on amount of doping. Because as the doping increases, more and more charge carriers are what? Available. And the majority charge carriers increases. Next one, third one. It also depends on temperature. It also depends on big temperature. As the temperature increases, more and more electron hole pairs are created. As a result, more charge carriers are available, and the width of the depletion region decreases, and the barrier potential changes. Therefore, option D is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer. All are correct. Next, pick out the statement which is not correct. At low temperature, the resistance of the semiconductor is very high. Yes, at low temperature, yes, correct. At low temperature, semiconductor behaves like a perfect insulator. At low temperature, semiconductor behaves like a what? Insulator. It behaves like an insulator means the resistance is high. Next, the movement of holes is restricted to the valency band. Correct. Well, holes are only move and available, and also they move only in valency band. And free electrons are available only in conduction band, and they can move in conduction. So option B is also correct. The width of the depletion region increases as the forward bias voltage increases in case of PN junction. Wrong. The width of the depletion region decreases in case of forward bias. In the previous question, we discussed that. So if this is the PN junction, this is the junction, this is P side, this is negative immobile ions, and here positive immobile ions. Positive immobile ions. Positive immobile ions. battery positive end is connected to P side and the negative end is connected to N side. Now holes, holes are the majority charge carriers. They will start to move towards what? Depletion region. Here electrons are the majority charge carriers. They will also move towards the depletion region. As a result, this width of the depletion region decreases in case of what? Forward bias. In case of what? Forward bias. Case of forward bias, the width of the depletion region decreases. But in case of reverse bias, the width of the depletion region what? Increases. Look at here. The width of the depletion region is what? Increases. Width of the depletion region decreases. Therefore, option, this statement is wrong. Width of the depletion region not increases, forward bias, but decreases. Next one, in forward bias condition, diode heavily conducts. Correct. In case of forward bias, diode conducts because the forward resistance is very small. But in case of reverse bias, diode does not conduct because the reverse resistance is very high. So option C is also correct. Option D is correct statement. Hence, is asking which is the false statement. C. Option C is the correct answer. Option C is the correct answer. Next, in a reverse bias diode, when the applied voltage changes by 1 volt, the current is to changes by 0.5 microampere. The reverse bias resistance, yes, reverse bias resistance R is equal to Ohm's law, from Ohm's law. From Ohm's law. From Ohm's law, R is equal to VI. R is equal to VI. The voltage changes by 1 volt. Voltage changes by what? 1 volt. Divided by current. Current is 0.5 into 10 power minus 6 ampere. That is 1 divided by 1 by 2. 0.5 is 1 by 2 into 10 power minus 6. 10 power minus 6 goes to numerator, 2 goes to numerator. Therefore, resistance becomes 2 into 10 to the power of 6. Option B is the correct answer. Option B is the what? Correct answer. 18. In the case of forward biasing of a PN junction diode, which one of the following figure correctly depicts the direction of conventional current indicated by the arrow mark? Yes. Forward bias. This is the diode. This is the junction. This is the P side and this is the what? N side. This is negative immobile ions. And P side, positive immobile ions and N side. Forward bias. So due to forward bias, holes will be repelled by positive potential. As a result, holes, these are the holes, start to move towards the junction. Here electrons. These electrons also start to move towards the what? Junction because of the negative potential. As a result, hole current will be set up in the direction of flow of holes, that is IH. And in case of N region, as the electrons are moving towards the junction, electron current will be always opposite the direction of flow of electrons. Therefore, IE, the current to the electrons will be set up in that one in the direction of hole current. Therefore, in both the cases, the hole current and electron current are in the same direction. Therefore, option A is the correct answer. Holes will move from P to N. As a result, the current due to holes also in the same direction. But in the forward bias, electrons will move from N region to P region. But current due to them is in direction opposite to the flow of electrons. Therefore, the direction of the electron current is in the direction of hole current. Therefore, both are in the same direction. Option A is the correct answer. Next one, in a PN junction diode, change in temperature due to heating. So change in temperature due to heating. As the diode heats up, the temperature increases. As the temperature increases, the more and more electron hole pairs are created by the break of the what? Covalent bond. Hence, more and more charge carriers are available for conduction. As a result, it may be a forward bias or a reverse bias. It will affect IV characteristic in both the cases. Therefore, option D is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer. Affects the overall VI characteristics of the PN junction, both in forward bias and reverse bias. Next, 20th problem. We come to the 20th problem. Which one of the following represent forward bias diode? Yes. Option A, -4 is till -3 is. Which one is less? -4. Therefore, this is low potential. Low potential at P. Low potential at P. And -3 means -3 is greater than -4. Therefore, high potential at N. High potential at N. P. -2 +2. Yes. Low potential at P. And +2 on a greater N. High potential at N. C. 3, 5 ಇದೆ. 3 ಅಂದ್ರೆ low, 5 ಅಂದ್ರೆ more. Therefore, same ಇದೆ. Low potential at P and high potential at N. D. Here it says 0. Here it says -2 ಇದೆ. So 0 is greater than -2. Therefore, high potential at P and -2 is low potential. Low potential at N. At N. Therefore, option D is the correct answer. So forward bias means, so P should be at higher potential and N should be at lower potential. Therefore, option D is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer. Consider the junction diode as an ideal. Ideal means there is no opposition. Resistance is equal to 0. Ideal means resistance is equal to 0. Ideal means forward resistance is equal to 0. The value of current flowing through the AB is equal to Ohm's law. Use the Ohm's law. From Ohm's law, current calculate for I is equal to V by R. From Ohm's law, I is equal to V by R. Now, the potential is how much is there in 4 volt and here it's a -6. Potential is 4 minus of -6 divided by 1K. 1K means 10 to the power of 3. Then I is equal to minus of minus plus. Set 10. 10 divided by 10 to the power of, that is equal to 1 into 10 to the power of -2 ampere. -2 ampere. Option D. Correct answer is what? Option D. Option D is the correct answer. 21. Next, 22. Yes. The circuit has two oppositely connected ideal diodes in parallel. What is the current flowing in the circuit? Now this is positive potential and this is negative potential. Therefore, positive is connected to D1, sorry, P side, and negative is connected to N side. Therefore, D1 is forward bias. D1 is what? Forward bias. Forward bias. Next, the positive is connected to N side. Negative is connected to P side. So D2 is reverse bias. D2 is reverse bias. D2 is what? Reverse bias. So D2 is reverse bias means it does not conduct. It does not conduct. That means the current will not be flow through this arc. As a result, the circuit is there or not, that does not make any difference. Therefore, we can remove this one. As a result, the equivalent circuit is only a diode. D1 with resistance 4 ohm and with resistance 3 ohm with that. This is the equivalent circuit. So this is 3 ohm, this is 4 ohm, and this is 12 ohm. Now, what is the current flowing in the circuit is asked. The current flowing in the circuit asked. Yes, of course, the current is equal to I is equal to V by R. V is 12 volt. Is given 12 volt. 12 divided by ideal diode means there is no resistance in the diode. But 4 and 3 are connected in series with this. Therefore, the total resistance is 4 plus 7. Sorry, 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3. That is equal to 12 by 7. 12 by 7 means how much? 7 ones are 7. 5 is the remainder. 50. 7 7s are 49. 1 is a 1. 7 ones are 7. Etc. For 1.71 ampere. Option C is the correct answer. Option C is the correct answer. So here D1 is in forward bias and D2 is in reverse bias. Therefore, we can write that D2 is reverse bias means does not conduct. Hence, we can remove that circuit. The circuit is there or not, that does not make because the current is not flowing through D2. Next, 23rd. The given figure, the diode D is connected to an external resistance 100 ohm on EMF of 3.5 volt. If the barrier potential developed across the diode is 0.5, the barrier potential developed across the diode is what? 0.5. The current in the circuit will be. The current in the circuit will be. Yes. Now, take the potential difference. The potential difference. Potential difference. Potential difference across R. Across R. The potential difference across R is equal to how much potential is developed across here? Total potential is 3.5. The potential developed across diode is what? 0.5. Remaining is how much? 3.5 minus 0.5. That is equal to 3 volt. That is equal to what? 3 volt. Then current I is equal to V by R. So this is V. V is 3. R is equal to 100. It's a 3 into 10 power minus 2 ampere. R is a 30 into 10 power minus 3 ampere. So 3 into 10 power minus 2 is not there. Yes, shift the decimal to another point, that is 30 into 10 power minus 2. That is 30 milliampere. Option C. Option C is the correct answer. Next, in the figure shown, if the diode forward voltage drop is 0.2 volt, the voltage drop, not a barrier potential. The voltage difference between A and B is the difference. Yes, whatever the voltage applied is what? VA minus VB. Because VA is at a higher potential and VB is at lower potential because the current is going from A to B. So VA minus VB. VA minus VB is equal to the potential across these components. The first one, it's I into R1. I into R1 plus potential drop across diode. Potential drop across diode plus potential drop across diode plus I into R2. This is R1 and this is what? R2. Therefore, VA minus VB. VA minus VB is equal to I is 0.2 into 10 power minus 3 into R1. 5 kilo, 5 into 10 power plus. Next, plus. Potential drop across the diode is what? 0.2 volt. Plus. The potential drop across second resistor is current is same because this is series. 0.2 into 10 power minus 3 into 5 into 10 power plus 3. 5 into 10 power plus 3 minus 3. Plus 3 minus 3 cancel. 0.25 is a 1. 1 plus 0.2 plus it's a 2.2. Option B. Correct answer. Option B is the correct answer. Option B is the correct answer. Next. Constant DC voltage is required from a variable AC voltage. Which of the following is correct order of operation? Yes. So constant DC voltage is required from AC, variable AC voltage. So first AC voltage is there, you have to convert that into DC. So that is called rectification, rectifier. Now whatever the DC we get is have AC ripples because it's a varying DC like this. Now you have to make it as a constant. That's why it requires filter circuit to remove this AC ripple. After that, to stabilize this DC voltage, we require regulator. Therefore, option C is the correct answer. Rectifier, filter, regulator. Next, the peak voltage in the output of a half-wave diode rectifier when with a sinusoidal signal without filter is 10 volt. The DC component of the output voltage is the half-wave rectifier. Half-wave diode rectifier means half-wave rectifier. In half-wave rectifier, VDC is equal to V naught by 5 for half-wave rectifier. For full-wave rectifier, 2 V naught by 5. And V naught is given. V naught is equal to 10 volt. Therefore, VDC is equal to 10 by 5. Option B is the correct answer. Option B is the correct answer. Next, 27. Column 27. So if we come to the 27, we have to calculate the voltage or potential difference across the capacitor. Capacitor is parallel. Capacitor is what? Parallel to 220 AC voltage. 220 AC voltage. So here whatever the AC voltage we applied is VRMS. And whatever the output we get VDC. This is VDC. This is what? VDC. And he is asking what will be the potential difference across the capacitor. So you have to calculate this V naught. To calculate V naught, so you have to get the relation between VRMS and V naught. The relation between V naught and VRMS is V naught or VRMS. VRMS is equal to V naught by root. Or V naught is equal to root 2 into VRMS. Or V naught is equal to root 2 into VRMS is 220. VRMS is what? 220. Therefore, 220 into root 2. Option B is the correct answer. Option B. So your capacitor is parallel to the AC input voltage. Therefore, the whatever the AC input voltage we are giving is RMS value. It is passed through this capacitor and diode and capacitor. It's half-wave diode, half-wave rectifier. Hence it converts into DC voltage. So therefore it is V naught. So now what is this DC voltage means? V naught You have to relate with VRMS. The relation between VRMS and peak value is VRMS is equal to V naught by root 2 or V naught is equal to root 2 VRMS. V naught is equal to 220 root 2. Next, 28. In a full wave rectifier circuit operating from 50 Hz remains the fundamental frequency of the ripple. Ripple means it's output voltage. Ripple means output voltage. In a half wave rectifier, in a full wave rectifier, the output is what? Ripple is an output voltage. So output frequency is equal to twice the input frequency. In case of full wave rectifier, half wave rectifier, output frequency is equal to input frequency. Therefore, 2 into 50, that is 100 Hz. Option D is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer. Yes. 29. An LED is constructed from a PN junction based on a certain semiconducting material. The energy gap is 1.9 electron. Then the wavelength of the emitted light is given energy gap, but to calculate the wavelength. Know that energy gap is equal to hc by lambda. Or that implies lambda is equal to hc by Eg. Lambda is equal to hc means 124. 00 electron volt Amsterdam. We use this term. You should know this constant value. You should remember it. It's a 12400 electron volt Amsterdam divided by Eg is 1.9 electron volt. Electron volt get cancelled. Now it becomes 12430 divided by 90. Divided by what? 19 Amsterdam. Or we can write this as 124 by 19 into 10 to the power of 3 Armstrong. 19 ones are 19 6 are 114. 19 6 are 114. 6 are decimal 6 is 0. So next 19 ones are 19 6 are. Next 9 point decimal. So it's 6 remaining. 19 fours are 19, 95, 19 nines are 95. It's a 1 not correct. It's a 114. Remaining is 10. So now put the decimal, take 0. Next 100. 19 fives are 95. 19 fives are what? 95. So we can write this as 6.5 into 10 to the power of 3 into 10 to the power of minus 10. Becomes 6.5 into meter. 10 power minus 7. Option D. Option D. Next, last one. In a given graph represents VI characteristic of a semiconductor device. Which of the following statement is correct? Yes. Here A is called VOC. It's a what? Open circuit voltage. It's a what? Open circuit voltage. And B is called short circuit current. Yes. It's a VI characteristic for solar cell where points A and B represent open circuit voltage and short circuit current. Option A is correct. So option B is wrong because they have only mentioned current. It's not a short circuit current. They are not mentioned. Only current is wrong. This is short circuit current and this is open circuit voltage. And option C, option D is also wrong. Therefore, option A is the correct answer. So this is about some MCQs related to the semiconductor. So we discuss in this class. In the next class, we discuss some MCQs related to the what? Logic gates. Thank you.